What's up, Facebook or YouTube or my website or my email list, wherever the hell you're going to see this. I'm going to plug my headphones in so you can hear me better. Okay. So Joe Bernstein here. Y'all know what I do. I coach men. I help them create a better life. I help them shift from consumer to creator. I help them relax and de-stress while still having what they want. Better relationships, better careers, better health, without all the stress and strain and anxiety and bullshit that we put ourselves through, that we believe that we need to use to motivate us to create a great life. So y'all know who I am, y'all know what I do, and today I'm fired up. I want to talk about some stuff. It might get a little touchy, you might get confused, you might get angry. I don't care. Keep watching because there's some dope stuff I'm about to share with you here that's really going to be helpful for people that listen, both men and women. So I want to talk today about men post Me Too and all the confusion that's showing up here, right? I want to talk about consent and radical consent as co-creation and how a consumer actually gives up their consent and believes that that's giving others consent. Not true. I want to talk about co-creation because ultimately that's what creation is about. We can't do anything alone. We're here to co-create. And I want to talk about nice guy syndrome, all the fucking bullshit that comes up around that in this context of Me Too and consent and all this stuff, this relationship between men and women. So here's the first thing I want to make clear. Giving other people more power, more privilege, more consent, more choice, more agency does not mean giving up your power or privilege or consent or agency. Love, power, abundance, creation, connection, these are not finite. It's not a pie. You're not giving up your piece. And this comes up a lot when we're talking about privilege, male privilege, white privilege, when we're talking about racism, when we're talking about supremacy, when we're talking about the colonial, patriarchal, dominating nature of our current world. There's this belief system that people attach to, hold on to, especially middle-class white men like me, that, wait a second, I feel disempowered in my own personal life. I feel disempowered at home in my relationships, and here you are telling me to give up the powers that I have, right? But I'm not going to talk too much into that today. That's a much bigger picture. Point is, nothing is some finite pie that you get a piece, someone gets a piece, and you got to give up your piece for someone else to get a piece. Screw that. That is consumer mentality. You've been taught that there's limited capacity and limited resource in this world, whether we're talking about time, energy, money, love, connection. It's not limited, it's abundant. So consumer mindset is living into limitation. Creator mindset is living into abundance and possibility. So here's why I'm talking about this today. So I have two stories. One is a friend of mine. Hanging out last night, we were chatting. He was telling me about a breakup that he recently went through. Been dating a woman for about 3 months. And the way that it went was she started expressing a desire to have more space in the relationship. She started expressing that she wanted to see him maybe only once a week. And he just kind of played the nice guy and told her, well, that's okay. It's not crazy for you to want that. It's not necessarily what I want, but we'll just, we'll do it your way, right? And then eventually she ended up breaking up with him after about telling him she wanted a weekend without communication, without contact, without time together. And she ended up breaking up with him over text a few days later after going MIA, right? And here this guy's sitting in front of me and he sounded like he just messaged her back. That's fine. I understand. You're not ready for a relationship, blah, 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 blah. And he's just doing all this nice guy stuff that we're trained to do. We're often trained, don't piss women off. Don't piss them off. And I told him, I said, dude, that's really thoughtful of you. It's really compassionate of you. But at the end of the day, aren't you a little upset about this? Where's your connection to frustration? Where's your actual anger? You're allowed to be angry about this situation. You're allowed to be hurt. And you're allowed to express your needs and wants. He turned around to me, he said, actually, That's what a lot of my friends have told me. And that's what a good friend of mine, who's a woman who I used to date for a little while, and now we're really close. That's what she told me. She said that I should have stood up for what I wanted and that I'm allowed to be angry. And I said, yes, that's it, right? So essentially, here's an example of a man who believes that to be fair and just and compassionate and loving and to give space, that you should just let women take the lead, and that he doesn't need to speak up for what he wants, and that he can just play the nice guy. But ultimately, that's something that's leaving him without long-term connection. Women lose attraction a few months in because he's not standing up for what he wants. He's not planting his flag in the ground. Also, I have a client who is amazing dude. This guy's really successful in business. He's a triathlete. He does CrossFit. He competes at a really high level athletically. He and his wife have a great relationship, and they've recently opened up the relationship, and they are dating. They're dating other people. They're dating the same people sometimes. It's really fascinating. And the situation came up where he's been dating this woman that he really is into. He's really into her, and his partner's really into her too. But she's been creating distance, and she's been not communicating in a way that's very clear with both of them, or she's communicating in ways that's very different with both of them. It was creating confusion. And I told him, you're really anxious about this. You want something to be different. Why wouldn't you just, next time you see her, speak up and say, look, I'm here to create a experience where we're both really enjoying ourselves. And there's just some things that I have some anxiety about that I want to check in with you on. And what he said to me was, he said, since Me Too, I kind of actually just have let women take the lead. I've acquiesced to what they want. I said, yeah, I'll plan dates here and there and take that burden away from them. It's something I really enjoy doing. I love planning. But as far as the pace and the energy and sexual escalation and how much communication there is, I just let them do their thing, because I really don't know when I'm being overbearing, or I don't know when I'm using my male privilege to get what I want anymore. And so I want to clear up some confusion. Just because we're in a post-Me Too world does not mean that a man needs to completely give up his desires, his wants, his preferences, his needs. It doesn't mean that a man can't, escalate sexually or romantically. It doesn't mean that men need to stop talking in meetings. I'll admit that as men, we could stop talking a lot in meetings and be better off. We can listen a lot more. We can give more space to women as a white guy. We can give more space to people of color as a straight guy. We can give more space to people of queer or homosexual backgrounds, or non-binary, pansexual, bisexual, all of that, right? Like, we can give more space. I'm not saying continue to take up all the space in the world, but there's a big delta, there's a big gap between being a oppressive, dominating, forceful, privileged asshole and being a wimpy, nice guy who does not speak up for what he wants. Because here's what's going to happen, right? If you believe that your job post-Me Too is to never speak up for what you want, is to never ask for your needs to be met, is to let every person who you might call feminine or a woman in your life, especially in a dating and romantic situation or in some sort of partnership situation, even in business or in community or in volunteer work, if you let them just take all the lead and you completely let your desires, your wants, your needs go unspoken, unmet, you will start doing unconscious manipulation. This is nice guy syndrome. Nice guy syndrome is we're taught to not rock the boat. We're taught not to piss people off. We're taught to be really likable. We're taught to blend in. I'm a recovering nice guy myself. And essentially what happens is the nice guy will always work hard to get his needs met. He'll do it through covert contracts. He'll be nice and he'll expect something from someone, or he'll be nice and he won't speak up for what he wants, and then he'll be passive aggressive and still try and get what he wants. Your desires, your needs, they're going to get met. They're either going to get met directly because you're speaking up for them in a clear, conscious way, or they're going to be probably not met, but you're going to try and get them met through unconscious manipulations that you aren't even aware of. This is what happens when men are showing up needy in business, in relationship, in life. Needy and creepy is simply someone who does not speak their desires with clarity and with co-creation. So I want to teach you the idea of radical consent as co-creation. What this looks like is that you don't just take what you want. You don't just get your needs met. You don't just get your desires served. You don't focus only on what you want. You don't use and abuse privilege to dominate others. But you also don't just acquiesce. You don't just back up. You don't just give over all of your agency. You don't just give over all of your wants, desires, and needs to others and then find subtle ways to hint and hope at them and create resentments and disconnections and softness that naturally repels people. You don't do that. Radical consent as co-creation is a beautiful concept that was taught to me by some amazing teachers in the social justice world. And it's one of the 4 principles of transformative relationship. What it means is that everything that you do with someone is happening through co-creation, is happening by everyone consenting. Now, what this means is you got to speak up for what you want, and you got to ask other people what they want. So I'll use a really simple example. Let's say 2 people want to go out to dinner. One person says, well, I want Thai food. Instead of just letting them get their way, you might say, well, actually, I want an Indian food. Now, we both want different food. So how do we solve this challenge? How do we solve this problem? What's a more creative way to get both of our needs met? Now, that could look like you decide to go to one today and the other tomorrow. It could look like you decide to actually get takeout from both and eat in a park or eat at home. It could just mean that you guys decide that there's something that's more in the middle that you can both enjoy. There are actually things between Thai and Indian. It's called Burmese. Fucking amazing. It's really good. Or Malaysian and Burmese food is like really beautifully a mix between like Asian and Asian food, like Far East Asian food and Indian food, and like. But anyway, I digress. I'm getting all geeked out about food. Try Burmese and Malaysian food. It's really delicious. Point is, though, it's about coming to a consensus, which might take a longer time. It might mean some compromise. But it doesn't mean that just one person gets their way and the other person doesn't get their way. It means that both people find a way to get their way. What this also means is that you are willing to talk about values that are shared, values that are not shared. You're willing to talk about preferences that are shared, preferences that are not shared. And you're constantly creative in coming up with solutions that meet most of everyone's needs, or at least gets people's desires heard. At least it gets people's desires heard. So often what this looks like is getting out of binary thinking. Getting out of the thinking that, well, because we're post-Me Too, I can never actually express my sexual desire with a woman. Because we're post-Me Too, I should let her take the lead and set the tone on the escalation of our relationship. Because we're post-Me Too, I should let her make all the decisions. No. It means that we come together. It means that we share the power. It means that we share consent. When it comes to the bedroom, it means that I, as a man, actually need to own my consent too. I need to check in with myself and know when I do and don't want to be doing something in the bedroom physically. And it's okay to not want. It means that sometimes, even though it's my natural tendency to take the lead and plan for what me and my partner might do, there's moments where I'm tired. I've been helping people all day long. There's moments where I don't want to make decisions. And I need to literally just say, I really don't want to make a decision right now. It seems like you don't want to make a decision right now. Either we both just go and do our own thing, or we're decisionless, or I'd like for you to take that lead in this moment. But it means being connected to what we want and being willing to speak it. It means checking in with our own energy when it comes to just almost anything in life, and owning your own preferences, your own desires, and not acquiescing, not backing up, not giving up all of your capacity, all of your agency, but also not forcing or manipulating or dominating to get what you want. So to bottom line this, if you are a man in today's world, You don't have to give up your power. You don't have to give up your preferences. You don't have to give up your agency. In fact, you need more of it. You need more connection to your own consent, your own agency, your own desires, your own emotions, to be the kind of person that can actually be co-creative with women, with feminine people in your life, with people that are different from you. You cannot be afraid to make mistakes. You have to be conscious. You have to be smart. You may at times want to tread lightly, but you got to be willing to check in with others to understand what they want, not assume what they want, not give up what you want, but co-create what both people want. This is really hard. This is really hard. I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but you got to start here with taking in the belief system that consent is not about one way, that power is not about one way. You don't just have it on one side and not the other. So it's time to break free from the nice guy bullshit. It's time to stop being afraid to speak up for what you want in relationships with women. It's time to stop being demanding and manipulative and patriarchal and overbearing. And it's time to meet everyone in your life with mutuality and respect and vulnerability and authenticity and connection and love and co-creation. A consumer believes that they either have to dominate or they have to surrender or be dominated. A creator knows that multiple people can hold the power, and you're not giving up your needs, your power, your wants, your desires, so that others can get theirs. You're coming together. Rather than imagining that you have less and someone else gets more, the truth is we both get more. We all get more. Step into love, step into co-creation, step into abundance. Just for today, when you find yourself not speaking up about something you want, I want you to find the kind, conscious, and co-creative and respectful way to just put your needs into the group, the room, the relationship, the container. Maybe it means even just honoring them and connecting them for yourself. That's what I got for you today. I hope this is helpful. I want questions on this. Message me with questions. Put questions in the comments below. Put your real life scenarios out there. If you want help with understanding radical consent as co-creation and how to navigate the world of man, women relationship after Me Too, which is like, it's not just about sex, y'all, right? It's about everything. Hit me up. I want to help. I want to serve. I want to be of value to the world. I want a place where we all know we can have more and we stop oppressing ourselves, so that with this notion that if I oppress myself, then more people are less. No, it's about a liberation of all of us. It's about love and liberation, which is my mission in this world, is like to create a world of more love and liberation through transformative relationship and communities. We can all get some. I'm ranting now. It's almost been 20 minutes, probably the longest live I've ever done. I hope you appreciate it. I hope you enjoy it. Drop some love, drop some comments below, share it with somebody. Peace. Have an awesome Friday. Have an awesome weekend. I'll see you on Monday.